We're back. Episode 19. I know our episodes have been a little sporadic. We're doing what we can with the whole COVID thing. I got my man Aaron Wiggs in the building. He's been really doing some really cool shit for the culture. We're here to talk about it and just dig into what he's been doing. Thank you for coming through, brother.
Thank you.
So, like, where did we first meet at? I think I remember the day we first met in LES.
No. We first connected at LES Park with Bellerude.
Yeah, with Bellerude.
Shout out Alex Bellerude, homie. The first time we met was when I was visiting New York City, maybe like 2013. It was like my second time out here. Maybe 2012. No, I came out in 2011. So 2012, you were manager at DQM.
Yeah.
And Perry was working there. Andrew Price was working there. And like, I was skating Blue Park when Blue first opened. And like George Chen, or Chata, he was like, I was amazed by the dude because we skated. The dude got a hot and ready. He like punched a hot and ready I used to stay in Bed-Stuy all the time, like visiting my friend Danny. And he was like, yeah, like I live like really close by there, like, you know, his deep ass voice. And he's like encouraging, and that dude's like a legend, you know? And he's encouraging me and just like he was working at Trader Joe's, that's what I was doing back home. So like, you know, I was like listening to what he had to say, and he was just like, you just gotta make it happen. You just gotta like move out here and just make it happen. And then everyone's like, you should just apply to DQM, dude, fuck it. So the first time I met you is I dropped off my resume at DQM, but it was like mad long. I didn't even know like what to throw on it. I went to Ready Set, I hit my homie Cody, like I was like, yo, can you print this out for me? And then like I took the train and skated over DQM, and I was like, what's up, man? Like I live in LA, I'm looking to like move out here. You know, I know a bunch of people. Yeah, I was like, I know a bunch of people that are like, that work here. Like I was wondering if you guys are hiring, and you're like, no, we're not hiring. And I was like, all right, bet.
Really?
Then, you're like, yeah, we'll keep it on file, but.
Because Chris Keefe told me, like, anybody that drops off resumes, like, just whatever.
Yeah, I was like, all right.
But you should have had somebody.
I put a hat on the counter. I was like, all right, that's all cool.
You should have told somebody, like, yo, tell them that, like, you're the homie, or like, I don't know.
Dude, that was the spot. That was the hangout spot, though. Like, I didn't really. I mean, I knew like Perry, Keith. I knew Keith lightly, but I got to know Keith over the times that I was visiting, and then Drew and Derek Heidel worked in the office, I think. Yeah,
he did, exactly.
And I used to just like pull up and just chill there like all day long, and like it was a spot.
It's funny, you know who else asked for a job too? Paloma. Right when she first.
Oh, really?
Right when she first moved here.
Damn, crazy.
I mean, not to put it out there, but she was like, "Yo, I just moved here. Like, I need some work." And then I was like, "I don't think we have anything." And then next thing I know,
she's like. I call her Queen P.
Yeah,
she's like,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
it's probably a blessing in disguise you guys didn't know.
Yeah.
So what did you end up doing at that time? Like,
everyone was just like, yo, you should just move out here. Just like, fuck it. Just like, do it. And what happened was I met up with this girl that I actually ended up like, you know, donating to via Sidewalk Sale. She's running this thing like with farms, and she's getting like organic food out to black families. I met up with her in Bed-Stuy, and we were getting drinks, and she was like, yo, don't you have to catch your like, she's like, are you taking the train to the airport? And I was like, yeah, it's my first time doing that. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take the train.
JFK.
She's like, JFK. She's like, you should go. And I was like, nah, it's good. And like got buzzed and still took the train out there. And then I pulled up to the gate, and they're like, are you Aaron Wiggs? And I was like, yeah. They're like, yeah, you missed your flight. And I was like, I know. Because I was like, dude, do I move to New York or not? Like, should I just do it now?
So
like,
subconsciously you
kind of wanted... Should I call moms and be like, hey, I'm not coming home? Like, you know, but thankfully I didn't, because, you know, it worked out to where I had a job lined up and everything, you know, so.
And then what was that? That was at the Trader Joe's? And
so then when I got back, I started plotting. I was like, I think that was probably my second trip, and I was like, okay, like, what can I do to, like, make sure I have job security? And I saw a bunch of Trader Joe's like out here, and a bunch of friends of mine were working at Trader Joe's back home. So then I was like, what's good with the job. But like the thing is in California, it's like no one leaves that shit because like there's so much job security. Like people put their like kids on and yada yada yada. So I moved back to Los Angeles, and my goal was to like move to New York City. That was like what I wanted to do.
After the time that did you miss the flight or you made the flight?
I missed dude. All right, so check this out. I missed the flight, and then I called my buddy Danny, who still lives out here. Like, shout out Danny Ugolik, like homie that I grew up skating with back home. I missed the flight, and then he was like, yo man, if you want to come back, like just stay at my spot. And I was like, well fuck, like Bed-Stuy, I gotta go back to Queens, like flights at 8 a.m., like that's hectic. And I had this like giant ass like army duffel bag, and I was like, I can use this as a pillow, fuck it. So I'm like cruising around JFK, like one of the only people in there, because I like spent the night there. The only thing that was open was like some whack ass like hot dog station, and I got this like chili dog. Lee, like literally the dog was like that fat, and I was like, I got that in a bag of chips.
It was sustainable.
I tried to eat that, and I just like made myself throw up, and I fell asleep in the airport, and I woke up. And my trauma is when I'm on planes, I can't sleep anymore because like I'm fine with flying, but I can't sleep anymore because I think sometimes I snore. So I'm that dude who's literally just like this and like jitters and like looks around. I'm like,
you don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable doing it. So I woke up snoring, and like mad people were just around me, and I'm like, oh fuck, got on the flight. So I made the flight home like the next day.
Okay.
And then like as soon as I like touched down back home, like it was just like, all right, what do I have to do to get back to New York City? So like with a job. And I was still visiting within that time frame. Like I would come out in the summers and stay for like a month. I would stay for like a long ass time. So I was working at a skate shop. I quit the skate shop.
In LA?
Yeah, well, this was in like the suburbs. It was Pomona, California.
Okay.
But I quit the skate shop that I was at for like 7 years, and I was a manager there. I was a team manager, and then I came back. Actually, when I got back, we went to go skate the Girl Warehouse, and I was trying to get a photo. We were all getting photo, like, cause Anthony Acosta skated for us. He's like really good friends with the owner. So Acosta's shooting photos of all of us, and there's like this steep ass wall, and I was trying to do rock fakies. And he's like, yo, like, and I did a couple. He's like, let me get a photo of that. And then I went up, and then I came down and just rolled over my ankle. Yeah, it sucked. But so I went back to work there, and I was juggling 2 jobs, and I was working like 7 days a week. And then the shop unfortunately closed down. That was like the sickest shop.
What was it, like Active or something?
No, but Active was I worked at Active.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I worked at Active, and it sucked. It's funny. I work with Stu, and like Stu Curtis and I, we always talk about how hot Active chicks are, or I always tell him that. He just was like, dude, you're crazy for saying this. But I'm like, yo, Active chicks, like if they lived here in New York, it'd be that.
There's Active Erica, the infamous. Shout out Active Erica.
Shout out Active Erica. I met her before she was Active Erica, dude, when she was Josh Harmony. Her and I like go way back. Yeah. I worked at Active. That was like the wackest job. They used to make me do the craziest shit. I think I was like the only black dude there. Like it was just like, it was so out of place. It sucked. But I was like, whatever. Like I'm working at like a skate shop, you know, running like Ezekiel clothing and shit, like a nice Ezekiel button up. But they had alphanumeric. That was tight. That's dope. No, this spot was called Platform, and I would joke around with, I don't know if you ever skated with like Landon Mitchell.
No.
He's like an old Logic head.
I remember the name. Yeah, that rings a bell.
Old Logic head. He's boys with Anthony, Daywan, Degar, all that shit. So, Ray Barbie. So those dudes would always come through and shit and like kick it. And then I would joke around about being team manager, and he's like, I don't know if you're serious about this, but if you want to be TM. He was like, yo, there's a lot of responsibility, and I was like, fuck it, I'll do it, you know? So he's like, we need new talent. We need like new guys, because the team was just like a crew of guys for so long. And I went to my hometown skate park that I grew up skating at, and I saw this kid just like skating mad aggressive, ripping it. And I was like, who the fuck is this kid? So I sponsored Jesse Alba when he was like 15. Jesse Alba, Nolan, this kid named T. We had a dope ass team, man. It was
That's crazy.
It was cool. It was sick. They, Landon, it was so DIY because like Landon and I would like do the graphics, and then we would like, dude, you're gonna get stoked on this. All right. So Landon and I would we would do the graphics. I did a graphic. He like was just like the art director for like shirts, board graphics, all that. But what we would do is we would like close up shop, we'd get a 6-pack, and we'd just like go through all the boards. And like, this is like when like people were still skating 7.8, 7.6s, like 8.125, 8.25, you're like crazy for skating that, you know?
Yeah.
We'd go through all the boards, we'd pick shapes, we'd pick a shape for like every size, and then I'd run them down to prime. So we were getting, we had prime boards. It was tight.
Damn.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Sick.
That's like some old school shit.
Damn.
If you're from LA, you know about prime. If you're from Cali, you know about prime.
Exactly.
Prime wood is like, yeah.
That's like the Chapman of the West Coast.
Yeah, but like he had a skate library. We'd play VHSs, like the old Listen video, you know, like just like shit like that. And then his brother had this spot we called the Ranch. He lived in the boonies, and he lived literally on this ranch, like with cows, and just like there was like an airplane hangar, and we would just pour cement and make like Philly steps, manual pads, like all this shit. We filmed mad shit there, but we would just go there. If we didn't know where to skate, we would just go there, chill, skate, grill, play horseshoes, call it a day, you know?
So it seems, so you went back to the West Coast, and then you kind of like got into a groove there. But then at some point in time, you were like, nah, I need to get back to New York.
So I always knew I wanted to go to New York, and I, like, from talking to friends, everyone's like, winter time is the best time. Like, that's when rent's the cheapest. That's when you should move out here. So I was like, January, I'll just face the cold and do it. I was just like that ambitious to do it. And then platform closed down, and then that was a sad story. They closed down.
That was a shop that you worked for?
That was the shop that I worked for. So we closed, and then I was like, where am I gonna get boards? And my house on the west side is like really close to Supreme LA. And my boy Bobby started working there. And he was always like, yo man, you need to come through, you need to come through. And I used to never go to Supreme. Like there was a Huff shop across the street, like Huff LA's. Like we would kick it there. My boy Vinny and I would like go there all the time. Yeah. That was like, and that's how I met like Cody and like a bunch of people that were affiliated with like Huff. But like
Cody Coaster?
Cody Coaster, yeah.
Okay.
Cody Coaster.
Yeah,
he's out here now, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's the man. So yeah, Cody used to work there, and like Cody was just like the legend in our, we're like, dude, Cody's the best dude ever. He still is the best dude ever, but yeah. And so one day I just like pulled up there, and I like went in to go get a board and saw the Spitfire 2 that I was looking for forever. And Bobby introduced me to a couple guys that were working, and they were just mad cool. And I was like, damn, this is sick. And like, I went to go pay for my shit, and then Matt was like, yo man, no, if you're the homie, you're good. And I was like, what? And he's like, no, you're good, dude. Like, don't worry about it. I'm Matt. Like, he's like, you know, like, so then I was like, I would just, since like my house on the west side of LA was close to there, I would go there to just kick it. And that's how I became cool with those dudes. And then I got a call one day from Bobby, and he was just like, yo, like, you know, how much is Trader Joe's paying you? Like, you know, like, what are you doing for them? Like, would you be interested in like working for Supreme? And at that same time, I got hit up at the spot that I live at now from my homie Cody, Derek, and Andrew. They group called me, and they're like, yo, when are you planning on coming out here? And I was like, probably January. And they're like, all right, well, Derek's moving out. We have a room available. We fuck with you. Like, you stayed at this spot last summer for a whole month. Wow. Why don't you just move in? So then I was like, damn, whoa, like that's crazy. Like, this is like what I want. But staying with my buddy Danny, who lived in Bed-Stuy, like my whole thing was like Bed-Stuy, and like watching like these like Spike Lee films. I was like Bed-Stuy, Fort Greene, like that was like my idea of New York and Brooklyn. Bed-Stuy, shout out. You know, and like I was like, damn, like, but you know, I was like, well, and then people were like, well, I mean, if you're gonna move in with friends right off the bat, it's kind of the move, you know? Because I didn't know what I was gonna do, like Craigslist or something like that.
So they're offering you the job at Supreme LA.
And at the same time,
your friends are like, come move to New York.
Yeah.
So how did you combine the two things together?
So I told my friend Bobby, and like my friend Cortland approached me about it, like who works there as well. Cortland was like, yo man, like we'd love to have you come help out. I know you want to move to New York, but the thing is like, they were like, Supreme was like, we can't hire someone part-time. It's got to be a full-time gig. And I was like, look, I'm committed to moving to New York City. So, you know, it just didn't work out, you know, like to where I didn't do it. But the way it combined was just like, kind of more so like on like Genesis' part, like he started working there and I would go in when I first moved out here, like on like the slower days, just to like maybe get a hat or something.
Lafayette.
You know, yeah, Lafayette, you know, and then like I met BB through that, and like Ty and Carl and like Josh and Martin, and you know, I would just go in on the slow days, chop them up, blah blah, peace out, you know. And I don't know, like I was out here working at Trader Joe's, and I was just like, look, I need a second job. I was willing to do anything. I was trying to work at Pies and Thighs. I had my friend Lauren DeCruz. She was getting me work, like random set design gigs. Like the homie Sam was like trying to get me like photo gigs, because I was like, I'm all into photography and shit. People were like looking out for like gigs, but I was like, dude, I'm down to do anything. I was trying to bar back at nights and weekends, like. But they were like, you need a resume? I was like, I need a resume to lift crates?
Come
what the
on.
fuck?
Yeah,
no,
like,
just throw me in there.
Yeah.
You know? And I just went in, like, and I was like, yo, Martin, I have to ask you a question. Like, are you guys hiring? I need a job. And then he, like, spoke with me outside, and I was like, yo, I don't know if any of these guys, like, BB once was like, he's like, yo, you friends with all those LA dudes, right? And I was like, yeah, man, like, you know, they actually asked me to work at the store, and he's like, should have stayed out there, man. That shit whack, you know. Classic BB, you know. He's like, you should have stayed in LA. New York whack. But I told Martin, I was like, yeah, like the LA guys like approached me like working there. Like I didn't do it because I moved here. And then Martin's like, so like you're telling me if I call Cortland right now, he's gonna know who you are? And I was like, yeah. Like he's like, go home and send me a resume. So then I did that. It didn't work out, but I started working at Dimes, and I was still doing Trader Joe's, and I was working at Dimes in Cobble Hill. One day I like got off at Broadway Lafayette, and I was walking through Soho to go to Chinatown to go to work, and I was gonna pass through the shop, but it was like so busy, I just was like, oh, whatever. Martin like waved me in, and he was like, yo, what are you doing? I was like, I'm going to work. He's like, you still doing 2 jobs? I was like, yeah. He's like, all right, well, Supreme Brooklyn's about to go down. Like, you got that resume? And I was like, I do. He was like, well, I think there was problems with like them opening it up, and he just like make sure it's PDF, but send that to me, and I'm gonna go on vacation, and when I get back, I'll make sure I get that through for you.
Oh shit.
So big shout out to Martin Davis, you know.
Okay.
Like, so I was taking a nap one day, and I saw this email from Todd, and it was like, hey
Jordan.
Aaron, what's going on? This is Todd Jordan. I got your email through Martin, or your resume through Martin Davis. I don't know if you're serious about this, but Supreme Brooklyn, we're looking to get staff. If you want an interview, please reach me back. Okay. And I was like, whoa, you know?
You're like, whoa.
I was like, whoa, Martin, thank you.
And then, so you get the job, and...
I got the job. I wasn't sure if I was gonna get the job or not. The interview process was long. But I got the job, so I'm like Supreme Brooklyn OG, with like Ige stew, meatball.
Big meatball.
Big meatball.
Love
the
that
man.
Dude. Yeah.
J-Ski. West Coast Brody.
West Coast Frisco.
Yeah. J-Ski, what up, J-Ski? Ski. Who else is there?
I love this story because it's like you put your energy into something, and you didn't, you kept your energy going in that direction to where you wanted to go.
I mean, I think that's the beautiful thing about New York City is like everyone has their own definition of New York. And I mean, I don't think like getting the job at Supreme was like my it wasn't like my main focal point or like why I moved here, but like I was like, damn, that'd be tight if I did,
of course.
Like, because of like the LA connection. And then I was like, damn, that'd be sick if it worked out. And then it ended up working out. But like,
well, that's the thing. It's like leading us to why you're here, of like what you've been doing.
Yeah, thank you.
And so that was that's the whole like, lead up to like what you've been doing during COVID and during this whole fucking crazy situation that we're in with Black Lives Matter and all that stuff. You've started these sidewalk sales that have really taken off and really become a big thing. And so kind of like, you know, people that are watching this are probably like, okay, like who is this dude? You know, like you're you're like big in the New York scene, but like in the whole skateboard world, like maybe people might not. They're like, what? Oh, you know, well, you know, what's going on here?
Well, to touch back on New York, I tell everyone that like the rotten apple is sweet once you hit the right tree. Like once you, because you got to figure it out, like straight up. Like everyone that like really like loves this place, like had a rough patch. So like the rotten apple it's rotten until you find that one sweet apple, and New York's just like the most magical place ever. That's like why it's like the sickest city.
I agree
because
with that.
you got to work for your shit here. And like, dude, I like my Trader Joe's shifts were so ass. Like I think I would work 6 p.m. to 2 a.m.s and go home and like make lunch for the next day, and like still try to like figure out where the homies were to function, you know, like, but that was cool. Like I was like, damn, I'm missing everything because I got to take the fucking train back, like, you know what I mean, like. But hey, man, like that was a part of like those are some of my favorite days.
That's part of the process of getting to.
My shit was I would get ground turkey, broccoli, red lentil noodles, and like make a sauce, and like I would eat that for like a week straight, you know, just to save bread. And I would skate.
That actually sounds really healthy.
It was healthy. It was good. But I would skate. Like I wouldn't buy like expensive cigs. I would literally like go all the way down to Labor to get cigarettes. Like I was like stretching pennies, you know. Like, but those are like those are the glory. Those are fun days, you know.
Yeah. So now you're at Supreme. We're in this crazy time. Let's talk about the sidewalk sales. How did that all come about? Like tell me about that, because.
A lot of people credit me for like the founder or like the dude who like birthed the idea, but the idea was born in the same exact park that we host them at, but it was amongst two others.
McGorlick Park.
McGorlick Park. It was Sachiko and Perry and myself. I think I just like during COVID, during the real like heavy shit of the lockdown, like. The highlight of my day was like getting a text from a homie being like coffee, and it was like, you know, you get a coffee at McGorlick Park. The furthest I went for months was McGorlick Park. I lived like right by there. So Perry was like coffee, and I was like, yeah. So Chico hit me up. She's like, hey, are you around? I was like, actually, I'm going to McGorlick Park to meet Perry for coffee. So we're just like in the park, and you know, early lockdown days, it was cold out.
It was cold.
It was frigid.
Boring,
it was boring. It was cold. Like you can only skate
those little
for like
moments of going outside,
and then like
golden,
all of a sudden it just like would hit you, and you're like, oh, okay, it's time to go back in. So we're chilling in the park. Sachiko, like she got me something. She got me like a plant, and we're just chatting it up, and we're just talking about just where the world is going, because you have this whole lockdown that you're like unfamiliar with. You know, this is like back when people were wearing gloves outside.
Yeah.
Remember those days? People wearing gloves outside, like supermarkets, like shelves were just scarce, you know, like.
Everybody's buying up toilet paper.
Yeah, that was a crazy
shit.
one.
Yeah.
That was a crazy one. So we're just talking about like what we can do. And then I'm just like, why don't we just like have a sidewalk sale? Like, why don't we just get rid of some of our own personal inventory.
Before the black, like the George Floyd and everything had happened.
This was like right when like the George Floyd shit like happened. And we were just like disgusted, confused, exhausted, and just like wishing we can do something to like make a difference, you know? And yeah, we were just like talking about the George Floyd incident in the park, and I was like, we should do a sidewalk sale. You know, I'll get some of my stuff together, and then Sachiko was like, I'm down. She's like, I don't do shit. Like, she was just like going around door to door, like baking, like bringing home baked goods to people.
There was a lot of baking going on at that time.
Yeah, she was experimenting with a lot of stuff. She's done so much shit during this. Like, she went from like baking, and she's a stylist, and before that, she, you know, she would like sell her like vintage clothes on Instagram and promote that. And now she's doing like these crazy, I don't know if you've seen the flowers at the sale, but those are like all her.
Yeah.
This is like a new thing for her. So she's just like, so, you know. And then Perry was just like, yeah, I'm down, let's do it. So then we were like kind of talking about it, and we left. And I like walked away thinking about it, and I was like, all right, like it could be something, this would be cool. And days later, like I think maybe like Thursday, Sachiko texted me, Sasha, and she was like, hey, like, are we gonna do the sidewalk sale? And I was like, yeah, let's do this. And that's like when it became a thing. And so I met up with my friend Max, and him and I were talking about it. And I was like, it'd be funny if we made like one of those like old like monster truck rally commercials, like the Sunday, like this Sunday, like something like that, you know, like to promote it. And so he was like, damn, that'd be sick. And then my roommate Andrew, Max and Andrew have been working together with like editing the videos. So I asked Andrew, I was like, yo, like what's good with filming me for like a little promotional Instagram video for the sidewalk sale? And he was like, I'm down, let's do it. We have a backyard at the spot. And I just like grabbed this like something, I just grabbed the one thing out of my closet that I wear in all the videos, and I was like digging through our shit. I found that Viking helmet and those Elvis glasses, and then like he's just like cracking up. He's like, okay, like this is what you want to like, this is what you want to do, let's go. Like, so then he's like, all right, so I need you to just like, and then at first he was like, all right, so we're rolling. And then it was just like, I'm just like, just acting wild, you know? And then he's like, all right, do a couple funny things. And I'm like, just like, literally he was just like, and I was just like, it was, you know, like that's what it was. And then he put it together like with this like crazy cheap car salesman edit that looked super fire. And I was like, fuck it, let's run it. And we were just like, holy shit, we did not expect this. And then I told a couple people prior, I ran into my homie Tom outside of Five Leaves, and I told him, he's like, yo, I'll bring juices, like, fuck it, like, you know, I'm down. I was like, that'd be sick. And then my good friend Steven contacted Leo Baker, and like Leo just they literally blessed us with like, I think they brought like 15, 20 pairs of shoes or something like that. Okay. Yeah, they brought mad shit. So, and then I like ran into Vince and Nick Stain, and like, you know, and I was telling them about this shit, and they're like, we'll bring stuff. So we had like mad Supreme shit, you know? And then the homies. This is the first one? This is the first one. Yeah. This is the first one. We had dope tables because of, you know, when I was with Vince and Nick, we were outside of Nick and Paul Coots' apartment. Paul works at Ready Set. Coots was like, dude, I'll get you on the tables. Coots made the tables like, I think the morning before. It was like, these are the tables I got. And they're like those long tables that we had. We shuttled those down there. We didn't know what we were like, we were just like putting stuff, folding stuff on the tables, like hanging stuff up on the fence. We're telling people to come back at 1, because that's when we start. And then people were like ready to buy, like people were just down. They're like, dude, this is like, you guys are contributing, this is sick. Like, and I was like, let's just sell it cheap, because like it's just got to be cheap so we can just raise money. You know, like everything should just be cheap. Sachiko brought a rack. She had her vintage clothes. Cheeks Burgers? No. But she before she was doing flowers, she just had like women's vintage. Sorry, no, that's Chico. That's Chico at the Supreme. Yeah. No, this is Sachi via Instagram. Sorry, you've been talking about her a lot. I got confused for a second. But yeah, Sasha, she brought a rack. She was selling, I think she might have had 2 racks. She sold like a lot of women's stuff. Perry brought stuff from Palace, and then, because he works there. And then our buddy Stu, he got like mad, he works at Carhartt Work in Progress, so he just brought mad shit. So we had like, you know, really good stuff. And I was like, dude, t-shirts 25, hats 20, jackets I think $50. Like, you know, like we don't wear. You must have had like mad exclusive Supreme shit, no? Or, I mean, I was just like, that's what people were like thinking, or like, yeah, you know, like, but it was like, it's like, what's more important, your wardrobe or the cause? And like, it was like the cause, obviously. So we were like, let's just get rid of it. And that day, Steven and I were like at the table, and I was like, how much is in your Venmo? And then he'd be like, dude, and I'd be like, dude, and we were like, holy shit, we're like raising bread. I thought we were gonna make like $500. Yeah. You know, straight up. I was like, $500, I'll be hyped. You know, we didn't contact the organizations. We just like did research on like long-term organizations that are like, and then this is like when the protests were happening. So we we did emergency bailout fund and EGI, and I was like, let's do something long term to where these people, where people that are getting the money, they're going to continue to do so, you know. And then next thing I know, my Venmo is at like I think like 4 G's, or I'm like, holy shit.
Damn. So how much did you guys make on the first sale?
15K.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that must have felt good.
It was crazy.
Hell yeah.
It was crazy. And we donated it, and then there was a jam up the first time. I wasn't thinking, so I had everyone send their Venmo totals to my Venmo, my personal Venmo. And then I was like, all right, everyone, we're about to do this right now. So like everyone's all crowded around me. We're all like excited. We're all like, yeah, like beers and shit in our hand. We're like, yeah, let's do this. Like, let's donate. And then it's like a big X just popped up on Venmo. And I was like, fuck, dude, I got like 10 G's in my Venmo. I can't send 10. That's like the no-no zone, you know? That's like.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, if you go to a bank with like 10 G's, like, I want to put some, they're like,
exactly.
What are you doing, you know? So then we figured it out, and we just like, we're sending disbursements little by little. And then I called EGI, Emergency Bailout Release Fund. They have a Venmo, so that was easy. So we were like sending it out to them, so that was easy. But EJI, it's like a full-on proper nonprofit. But it was cool. I called and I spoke with someone on their consultant team and like their like accounts department, and like her and I were on the phone for a little bit, and I was like, yeah, like we're just people who got together to have a sidewalk sale in Brooklyn, and we want to donate to you, and you know, we're gonna give you like, I think it was like $6,700. And then she was like, oh my God, that's insane. And I was like, yeah, like I'm having trouble like sending the amount over.
You're like, I'm trying to give you a bunch of money. How can I do that?
And then I was like, you know what? I think it's my bank. So then I called it was a whole process. But then she called me back and she's like, we got it. We're so stoked. And I was like, damn, that feels good. You know, like you're like, damn, that feels good.
So first sale, 15K. How many sales are you at now?
We just did our 6th one on, I think, the 3rd of August or something like that. Yeah.
And how much money have you raised so far?
So far, collectively, I think it's 115,000. Wow. Yeah. Supreme, Todd reached out to me. He matched one of the donations. Okay. Which was sick.
Damn.
But yeah, we.
Damn. And what are some of the charities that you've been donating to besides the bailout fund? Is it Black Lives Matter, or what else have you been?
Well, the crazy thing is like, Steven Strowski. Do you know Steven? Steven, glasses.
I'm not sure, maybe by face.
Fucking rips at skating.
Yeah, I don't know.
He just has like, he just is just on it. He like literally like, if you were to talk to him about where to donate, he'd be like, oh my God, like, and then show you his phone, and he has just like, it's like, and like, he will give you information on every single one. Okay. And me personally, like the day after a sale hits, I'm doing research myself in my apartment, like just like looking up things, and I'll discuss these with Perry normally. But the crazy thing is like where the world is at, something always happens to where it's like, all right, so we had this in mind, but we should do this. So like the week we donated to Elijah McClain's GoFundMe, we wanted to focus on education. I found this like really cool nonprofit that focuses on education specifically in brown and black communities in New York, and I was like, that's rad. You know, this is local, like this is cool, because this is something grassroots in New York. This is money for, you know, this community in New York. This is rad. But the whole Elijah McClain story just was like so viral, and like looking into it, and Perry and I were like in Connecticut, and I watched the video and I was in tears, and
I couldn't really watch that shit.
Dude.
I can't watch these videos. Like I've seen enough where it's just like, it's too triggering. It's like too.
It's insane. Yeah. It's insane. Like, to be honest, like the huge point of the sidewalk sales too was like, it was kind of hard to go out and protest at first, because with the George Floyd stuff, we were also in Connecticut prior to that. Like, we went out to Connecticut twice just to get away from the city and shit. And that morning, I was a wreck of emotions, because I was like, damn, how many fucking black people are hashtags now? You know, like justice for whatever. Like, am I next? Like, if I have kids, are they next? Like, I'm over this shit, you know?
Yeah.
And Perry walked out of the house that we were at, and he just sat by himself, and I just was like, I'm just gonna give that dude his time.
Yeah,
like, I just knew he was just like so fed up with the world. It was like, I was fed up. And so when we got back into the city, that's when the protests were like just so heavy. And I personally had to check myself before I actually went into the field to like do that, because I was like, I might just grab someone and just deck them on principle, because I'm over it, you know what I mean? Like, but I had to like really meditate and be like, that's not the energy, that's like not how we handle shit, you know? Like, I had to like meditate and like be like, how can we like make this something positive? And like, that's how that idea birthed out amongst, you know, Sachiko's advice and Perry's advice that day on that bench, like, because Perry like was like, I'm not going out there. And the reason why Perry wasn't going out there was because Perry was like livid. Like, the dude was just livid.
Perry, yeah, he's a very emotional person.
He's a very emotional person.
And,
him and I both live in like very predominant white neighborhoods in Brooklyn. And like, we already expressed how fed up we are with that shit. And then you like, that's like where you live. And then you have a whole world of that. And it's like, I was thinking about it, I'm like, dude, my grandfather left the South because of like racial tension. And now I'm still in this. Like, when is this shit gonna end? You know?
Yeah. So there's a lot of intense.
It was intense.
A lot of feelings.
I had to check myself before I went out there. Like, I was like, I want to go, but no. And actually, this thing happened the day we got back. Sachiko, again, she had a birthday party in the park, and there was these two bike delivery guys, these black dudes, and they got in an altercation with this old Polish guy. And the Polish guy was like, he's like, I'll fucking shoot you. And this is literally after the George Floyd incident. Okay. So that's,
you guys have already had one sale?
No, this is before we had a sale. This is like when we were like, I think this is like leading up to the weekend of the sale. Okay. And there's these two black guys that I always see in Greenpoint. They're bike delivery dudes. And it's like, the one dude just like punches the door. And everyone in the park is just like, you know? And he's like, don't you ever fucking say that to me, bro.
Car door?
No, like apartment door, dude. Like, it was crazy. And then there was like some asshole like on a terrace, and he's like, yo, why don't you just calm down? And then he's like, do you know what he just said to me? Do you know what's going on in the world right now? Like, this dude just told me he'll fucking get a gun and shoot me. Like, do you not know what just happened? Like, do you not know why the streets are like burning down? Like, what the fuck? So then we're in the park, right? And then I'm like, I gotta go say something. You know, because I'm like, this is like, my thing is like, if I ever see like black people in any kind of like altercation with like whites or any other race, I personally, and Perry, one time Perry and I were like, we were walking in Greenpoint, we saw this black guy talking to like two white guys, and I was like, Perry, let's go. So I walked up and I was like, yo, bro, everything cool? And he was like, everything's cool. I was like, all right, if static, let me know. You know, like, we can talk it out, we can figure it out, but like, I'm not gonna leave until I know you're good. And so I did the same thing. I like walked over, I was like, yo, like, everything cool with you guys? Like, you know, like, and like this dude was just like heated. And he's like, you know, like, word to Allah, blah, blah, this and that. I was like, look, man, right now is not the time and place. There's people filming. You don't know if these people are snakes, they're snitches. Like, well, this is an all white neighborhood. I live here, trust me. Like, I understand your frustration, bro, but you guys gotta like, you know, like, just dip. Cops come, I'll cover you. You know, like, give me the story, you know, I'll talk to them. I'll be like, I don't know them, blah, blah, blah. Like, I see you guys all the time. Like, I know you guys are like delivery guys, food delivery guys, like, you know. And so I was just like, damn, this is crazy. Like, racial tensions are in the area more than ever right now, you know, like, because especially like in Greenpoint, like that whole like you promoting BLM, like they're so anti that, like it's, you know, shout out Bedside again. That's why I'm trying to get an apartment.
So these are kind of some of the situations, situations that led you to kind of fueled the fire of what you guys were doing, and kind of like lit the fire under you guys to like start the sales.
Definitely,
and, like,
man. It was just like this.
Donate and all
it was
stuff.
just like this. Like, it was like this meditative thought, and it was like, how can you turn negative energy into something positive? How can you get people together? And like, the thing about black communities, which sucks, is like, we don't have what like Jews, Asians, and like, you know, Armenians, like if you look in California, there's like Little Armenia, there's like all like, you know, all Jewish people, like they all like invest within their communities. They have their own banks. They put their people in certain schools. Their products are bought like in their own stores. We don't have that. We've never had that. We don't have black banks. We don't have like full black organic grocery markets. It's so rare. It's like a trendy thing if it is. Like it's nothing just natural that's already existed. So it was like, we were like, how can we just like put money back in our community, you know? And that's what it was. Okay. So that's like an extension of like your previous question about like the organizations. And it's gone further than that. Like we've invested into like the trans community, housing for trans communities. We've done personal donations for people who are victimized by racism, people of color. Like whatever we decide to choose, it's for POC related or LGBTQ like queer community. We're trying to do a thing now, like with all of our cash donations, we're trying to go door to door to like New York establishments that really like need to stay open because of the pandemic. And we're just like, this is for you, you know? So we did that with Julius Bar, which is like the oldest gay bar in New York City.
I saw something about that on your Instagram.
I mean, we're going to continue to do that.
That's amazing. With everything that you've been saying, like, I know that now is not the time for jokes, but I hope that you maybe tucked a couple racks aside for yourself.
No, everything's been donated.
I mean, all that work, you gotta like, you know, there's some
people are like, you should make it a nonprofit, and I'm just like, I mean, that's like where it can get messy because you have accountants involved and other people involved, and the thing is it's just like, it's so simple, and people have reached out to me and they're like, how can, like, I want to do this somewhere else in the world. What's your advice? And I'm like, honestly, dude, everyone deserves a chance to show their heart. So if people were like, hey, like, I want to sell something, like, give them a shot. If they got something cool, like, give them a shot. I personally would like to have more POC vendors, but like, I don't really get hit up that much by people of color like that want to have tables, unfortunately, you know what I mean? But the thing is we just make people do donations on the spot. It's mad easy. And like, I'm just like, donate your bread, tag me so I can regram it. That way we can let people know we're dispersing the money, you know, so.
That's amazing. And so let's talk about something else with COVID going on right now. Your brother-in-law passed away from the virus, right?
R.I.P. Big Mike.
I'm sorry for your loss.
No, thank you.
How was that situation? What was the story behind that whole thing, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, my sister and my brother-in-law, me personally, I think they went on vacation in San Diego, and when they got back, they weren't feeling well. And I called her just to chat. And she was telling me how she wasn't feeling good, and she sounded like shit over the phone. And then she told me Mike was in the hospital. Actually, no, what happened was my youngest sister, I called my youngest sister, because my youngest sister is entering high school. So I call her whenever I get like emails. She's going to like this crazy private high school like in LA, like in Los Feliz. And like every time I get an email, I call her, I'm like, hey, check your email. And then, you know, we're like chatting on the phone, like catching up and talking. And then she's like, yeah, I'm just worried about Mike. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, he's in the hospital. And I was like, what? So then I called my other sister, and she told me what happened. And he was just in there ever since. And from my understanding of it all, there was a machine that he needed to recover that the hospital didn't have. But since he was non-responsive, he couldn't be admitted to another hospital. So he, diabetic as well, so he had pre-medical conditions. So his like, just breathing just collapsed. You know, so.
Damn, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, man, that guy was like a huge breath of light. Like I've never seen anyone who was like so family oriented, just so cool, you know, like, and I was really looking forward to like them coming to visit, you know, like he was just a cool ass dude. You know.
So some of the money, not that it's all about money, but some of the proceeds from some of the sales you donated to the family and to help them out.
I was thinking about doing a GoFundMe personally, which I did do with my friend Natalia. She helped me set up this GoFundMe. But since this was such a big deal, my sister's best friend set up a GoFundMe as well. And like with all the scumbags taking advantage of the movement and making these like fake GoFundMes, GoFundMe's cracking down. So like a lot of people like would make these fake GoFundMes and they're like pocketing money off of like our movement, which is like so crazy.
Of course.
And
I mean, it's people are taking advantage of every situation.
Dude, I even had to like have a talk with a lot of people like going out during the looting. I was like, look, man, if you're gonna fucking go loot, like you do it the right way. If you're gonna, like, I've talked to people at protests. There was this dude who was like calling a cop a faggot, and like I was like, look, like that word is like so derogatory. Like if you're gonna say that, then you might as well call me the N-word. If you're gonna put that energy out there, you don't need to be here. He's like, oh no, I got like nothing to lose. I'm like, there's people here. Like this is, you're marching for my skin tone. So you need to come correct. Like same with the looting, you know? Like, so it just sucks how people are taking advantage of that shit. So to go back to what we're talking about, my friend Natalia and I, we made this GoFundMe and I launched it via Instagram, and like within like an hour, we were at like 4 Gs. But then my sister called me and her best friend made one like a few days before, and that was at like 50 Gs.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Damn.
She was like, hey, GoFundMe contacted me because of like just questioning the legitimacy of like both of them. So we had to take it down. I donated all the money that was in that one to hers, but we were, Todd hit me in interest of like matching any kind of potential sidewalk sale, like having Supreme match it. And then he called me again and he was like, you know, like Supreme is family, your family, we want to take care of your family. We want to like match this particular sale that you're promoting for your sister.
Okay.
And I was like, dude,
that's
Todd,
amazing.
that's crazy.
I mean, that's love right there.
Dude, I straight up was like, I like went home and cried, man. I was like, that's crazy. Like, I'm just blessed to have a job like that really looks after us, you know? Like, it's just beautiful. So, you know, thank you, Todd. Thank you, everyone at Supreme, like allowing me to do this. Like, thank you, Supreme in general. Like, but yeah, so Todd was like, hey, like, we can't match a GoFundMe, so we can match the donations that you choose, and then all the money you guys make, you guys give that to your sister. So that's what happened. Yeah,
incredible.
And we raised $25K that day.
Incredible.
And it was insane to see how much people were promoting and showing up, like just for my sister, you know, like, and they don't even know her, but they're like, dude, you're doing so much, like, we have your back, like.
That's amazing.
And I was like, dude, this is emotional. This is crazy, you know.
That's crazy. With COVID and like having experienced that with somebody so close to you, how do you feel about people that don't really believe in what's going on, or like are anti-mask, or like, you know, it's just super disrespectful when something that has affected you so closely, and then you might know people that like don't really take it that seriously. Like, how does it, you know, how do you feel about that?
Ever since it's happened, personally, ever since it's hit home, I've told them straight, like, you know, in any kind of situation, if I do speak upon the situation, I'm like, look, man, I lost a brother-in-law. I lost my brother because of this, you know. There's always going to be like just an opposing side on anything so real. So there's always going to be like conspiracy theories, like anti-maskers, like people that it's just like, it's frustrating for sure. It's frustrating, you know. You know, it's like it's insane. I've noticed I stopped going to a deli on my block because of how many people go in on the regs without the mask. Paul Coots and I were talking about it, and it was like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I was just like, all right, you guys do your thing.
It's crazy, right? It's just crazy.
I'll walk a few blocks down to get my cigarettes. Like, shit ain't even worth it, you know?
That's the deli's responsibility to tell people, like,
bro,
yo, if you're in here, you gotta wear a fucking mask.
There's this dude, we call him, Coots was like, just like killing me that day we were talking about it. So there's this guy in McGork Park who literally just like will just bench press tables. So he calls him Jimmy Tables. But he works at the deli now, right?
Okay.
And when he works at the deli and you put your shit on the counter, you know, he's like, his hands are, he's just like, like trying to find the price tag when it's like that orange obvious price tag that says like $149.
Yeah.
And he's like touching your shit and you're just like, dude. Like I literally, like one time I went in there, I was like, Gatorade, $2.99. Like, and then I was like, seltzer, 99 cents. Bag of chips, like $1.49. And he's like, okay, $6.50. And I was like, God, dude, you're not touching shit, bro. Like, took my shit in my room and just like, Perelled the shit out of it, dude. But I'm serious. And I was like, all right, Coots is right. I'm not going to that deli ever again. Like, fuck that. Jimmy Tables, like, wipes your shit down. Like, he's like if you have a Sprite can, he's just like, 99 cents.
Okay.
You're like, dude, how do you not know how much a soda is when you've been working here for like 5 months?
Exactly.
It's so
Should
crazy.
have all this shit memorized.
Yeah, do not put your hands on where I put my mouth. You know, it's so crazy.
Damn.
The crazy thing is, like, have you ever looked at someone sideways, like on the train prior, like pre-COVID, like, you know, like those people that would wipe shit down?
Yeah.
Like, we were always like, yo, what the fuck's good with you?
Are you crazy? Like, come on.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
So crazy.
And now you're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. You're like, damn, I'm so sorry I dissed you. You're like, I'm so sorry I dissed you in my head. If I could just find you ever again, I would be like, dude, what is the answer, bro? How you doing? How often you get in Texas?
Let's talk about growing up in LA. Where did you grow up exactly?
So I was born in Cedar-Sinai, Beverly Hills. At that time, my parents had a house in Inglewood. At that time, I was growing up in Inglewood. Things were lovely, but shortly after that, the LA riots hit, and that was chaos. My grandfather started a barbecue business on Slauson and Crenshaw, right next door to where Nipsey Hussle got shot at, where he has his store at. Literally right next door. I used to get my hair cut in that same shopping
What's the
plaza.
barbecue spot called?
Woody's Barbecue. We have 3 now in South Central.
Your grandfather recently passed too.
Recently
no?
passed,
Damn,
yeah.
Rest in peace. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 2020 has been shit.
Yeah. my mom passed away too.
Damn, sorry to hear that, bro.
Yeah.
So I was living in Inglewood. The riots popped off, and when I was like a young kid, my mom and I were in the car together, and this dude ran up with my mom and put a gun to her head.
Okay.
And was like, give me everything you have, you know. And she was like, just look in the back seat, please. And I was in the back seat. And then she was like, I'm fucking out of here. So I used to live around the corner from my cousins that I'm like closest to in my family. At the time, my auntie Rhonda, she was a real estate agent. So my mom was like, I want a house far away from here as possible. Like, what do you have on the market? So we drove out to Claremont, California, and my mom got us a house in Claremont, California. But every weekend, we'd go back to Slauson and Crenshaw. My parents split up. So my dad, he lived right next to LA High School for a minute.
Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So I grew up skating LA High School as a kid,
nice.
like by myself.
Yeah.
He lived there, and then he lived off of Crenshaw and MLK for a minute. And then his sister, who used to babysit me, she passed away a long time ago, my auntie Wanda. She lived in the jungles, which is like,
shit.
I don't know if you heard about the jungles.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Yeah, she lived in the
That's off La
jungles.
Brea, right? Is it off La Brea?
It's like, it's off La Brea.
Off the bottom of like near Ladera Heights? Like
Exactly,
down there?
exactly, yeah. It's in, what's that Denzel movie?
Fucking... God, Training Day.
Training Day. Denzel lives in the jungles in Training Day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So my auntie wanted to live in the jungles for a little bit. So it was always like, I went to school in like this, in Claremont, but my summers and all that was spent in like that zone. But all my family also was living in Ladera Heights. So like, that's where I grew up as well.
Okay.
So I was like back and forth between.
So with all that going on, how did you get into skateboarding?
So I got into skateboarding in the 6th grade, and this kid that I was friends with, like from the 1st grade up until like for a long time, he had a CCS mag. This is like when the CCS mags were like mad thick, like really nice kind of like paper. Yeah. And it was like when the end came out, and he was like, dude, Keith Kirchart is so sick. Like, he's like, he skates in a suit, and like the cover is like Heath, like, I think back nose blunting like the Blockbuster sign or something. And he was like, check this out. And I was like, dude, let's go play basketball, man. You know? He's like, no, check this out. This is so cool. And he gives me the number to order a CCS. He's like, they're free. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll order one when I get home. So I had the number in my pocket, and you know, being in 6th grade, I didn't do my laundry back then. I think my mom was doing my laundry, and she's like, "Why does he have a 1-800 number at, you know, at like age, however you are in the 6th grade? Like, is he like calling like porn numbers?" So like, I'm like running around the crib, and she's like, "Oh, something came in the mail for you," and I was like, "Really?" And she's like, "Yeah, like I was doing your laundry. I thought this was like she said a nasty hotline number," and I was like, "What?" Like, "Mom, what is that?" Like, you know, I was like, "What?" And then she was like, "But this came in the mail for you," and I was like, "Oh, whoa." And I was like flickering through it, and I was just like, we were driving to. My mom worked at the barbecue shop just like her whole life. She went to college. Like, her and my uncle, like it was like you grew up working there. Then my grandparents sent them off to school, and it was like, I don't care what you get your degree in, but you come home with a degree, but your ass is working in the shop again. Okay. So they like that, you know, they grew up smelling like barbecue. So she was still doing that, you know, and we, you know, so we're driving back to LA, to like South Central Zone, and I'm just like looking, I'm just like, dude, what the fuck? This is so sick. And this kid Kyle in my neighborhood had like an old hookups board, and so one day I went to a spot and I was like, "Hey, let me see your skateboard," and like I like started riding it, and I was like, "Mom, I want a board for my birthday." So she took me to Jerry's board shop, which was like this shop in Upland, California, and I got a Mike Carroll flag board with black magic grip tape, Grind King trucks. I had like a red base plate to match the red in the girl board, Spitfire wheels, Black Panther bearings, and then I got a pair. Oh yeah, I was like, and then I got a pair of like these like DCs. Yeah, I got a pair of DCs, and my first skate shirt was this like bubbled Think shirt. It was green, and it just said Think, but it was like army print inside the middle, and that was it. That's how I got into skating.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm always fascinated by LA and like growing up there for like Black and Latino men and women, young men and women, because the gang culture there is like such a crazy, strong thing. And I think that a lot of people in the rest of the country don't even, like, they make jokes about like Crips and Bloods and like Sidewalk and like all this shit.
I mean,
like,
my grandmother on my dad's side, she would say cuz jokingly because I had uncles who gangbang, like who were in rolling 60s. So like on my dad's side, I was like exposed to that. My auntie, his sister, used to do Eazy-E's hair. She was just her name was Wanda. She had a hair salon in the hood. And she hung off like Mad Bloods, and so like she used to do in Inglewood,
because Inglewood's like all bloods. Yeah.
So she hung out with Mad Bloods. They were always there, you know, like, so they were just like, yeah, like, you know, I was like around it because of like, you know, family that was in it, but not fully around it. But then also where our flagship location is on Slauson and Crenshaw, that is like the fucking hood. So it's like I like West Boulevards was like they were like bigger than they were. And like my cousins on my dad's, I mean, all my cousins in LA would be like, my mom was always like, I remember I had a pair of the black Costin ones that had like the like blue, it was like blue on the toe and the heel cap. Yeah. And I remember putting in a pair of blue laces because my laces ripped. And I went to Magic Johnson movie theaters, and my cousin Corinthi was like, "Yo, your laces." And I was like, "What?" She was like, "Yo," and I was like, "Oh shit." Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, there was just so many crazy small like political things that like added up to you getting your ass whooped or called out. Like, you can't wear certain hats like to the left, to the right, to the front, because that means you're representing that gang. Like, these are small things that like people in New York don't even think about.
Exactly.
You know, like Supreme, like, it's funny, like we've done Mad Paisley shit, and me and Jayski are like, yo, Jayski and I are just like, nah.
Shit, the red shit, like,
we're like, nah, we're good off that. But then people are like, it's not even a thing out here. We're like, yeah, but you know, like, you're just like, nah.
That shit is still ingrained in your mind.
Jayski also grew up around that shit, so like, he's just always like, nah, like, I'm good.
Even me from Northern California, to this day, I never wear red, I never wear blue.
Yeah.
Like, ever, like.
Yeah. I'll get blue shit. I'll get blue stuff.
I might get like a navy blue, like a really dark one that almost looks black, but like that's about it. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, but my Uncle Russell and my Uncle Philly used to gangbang pretty tough. And yeah, so like, you know, like
Do you have a lot of friends that got sucked into that, or like people
I
that you know?
I have a friend that was tight with my cousins that I was really cool with, that I used to always kick it with when I was, you know, back out there on the weekends. He started banging, but he stopped. He's like rapping now.
Okay.
He actually was a part of West Boulevard's,
Alright.
which is a Crip gang. West Boulevard's bangs right by where Woody's is at, which is off of Western Boulevard. But they're like, I think they're kind of like, I don't know hood politics, so like, you know, I don't know where it's at right now because, you know, I live here. But that shit was crazy growing up. I couldn't go to that store on Western without supervision.
Well, that's the thing that I'm super curious about is like, how does somebody a black man that lives in LA that's not involved in that but lives in those areas, how do you navigate those waters on a day-to-day basis? I've always been fascinated by this.
Well, it was interesting because we moved to the suburbs where that was removed. It was removed from that. We moved to like an all-white neighborhood. So my mom put us in cotillion where like you learn how to like sit with like, you know, put your napkin in your lap and you know, your fork is here and your knife is here, and you know, like she was huge on manners. You know, elbows on the table, say yes please, pardon. Like I grew up saying pardon me, and then I would go back and like, you know, like if I was at like a relative's house and my auntie or my uncle would call my name or say something, I'd be like pardon me, and then like they would make fun of me for that. Ah! You know, like so then when I was around all that shit, it was just like so. It's funny, Paloma and I talked about this. Like Tyler said it, like. Tyler says like you're too white for the black kids and too black for the white. So you're like kind of like that was like my thing, and it was like you're just like in this middle, and like you're like no, but like you know like I am actually from the hood, like you know like I have like history in the hood. Like my mom just wanted opportunity, and I skate, and you know like Baker 2G came out, and I was like hanging out with kids, like we were listening to punk rock, and like so I was like wearing crazy shit and like you know like dressing psycho like Greco and Reynolds, and like they were like yo you crazy, like you're doing white boy shit, like I was like why are you doing this white boy shit, you know like
exactly, and
I was just like well I can't skateboard damn you know like and so even like in the suburb I grew up in, the black kids weren't doing that. So I would
Pomona
get
is kind of rough too. Like
Pomona's rough, but I grew up in Claremont, which is next to Pomona. But Pomona's got like essays, and so like you know, I also saw that go down too. Like there's essays and there's Bloods out there. There's like a little bit of Crips out there. There was these Bloods that used to try to fuck with me all the time at school. Like they would just always try to press me. It was so insane. It would just, and one time I just turned around. I was like, yo. Fucking slob, stop, which is a diss. So we had like beef, it was crazy. They were like, what the fuck? But yeah, I was always getting like fucking just like pressured, man. It was like insane.
LA is it's its own thing that I think a lot of people don't realize how crazy it is.
It's so crazy.
It is crazy.
There's race wars, you know, like.
It's the gang capital of the world. There's like so many gangs, it's wild.
But I always tell people out here, I'm like, dude, my grandmother used to say cuz all the time. You know what I mean? Like, she used to always say cuz, like, all the time. She's like, you want some water, cuz?
You know what's trippy?
And she's like a church lady. I'm not even lying. She's like a huge church lady. She's like, you want some water, cuz? Like, someone would come over, you know?
It's just like ingrained
It's
in her.
ingrained.
It was funny for me, the first time I came to New York was like, because even in the Bay Area, a black man or a black person can't really walk through a black neighborhood that he's not from, or that they're not from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, you're not from here. Like in San Francisco, like you can't really hang around in Hunters Point or Potrero Hill or like any of those neighborhoods if you're not from there. People are gonna come check you. Like, what are you doing here? Who do you know? You got family here? Or like, what are you doing here? And like when the first time I came to New York was in like I don't know. Well, I lived here when I was a kid, but like coming back as an adult. Like, I was like, damn, you could, my boy was like, come up to the Bronx and meet me. And I was like, all right. So I went to the Bronx.
Damn, what year was that?
That was like 99 or something like that. So I went up to the Bronx and I was like, damn. I was like, really? I could just go up there? And he's like, yeah, it's cool. And I was like, you sure? And he's like, yeah. And then like walking through, it was such a weird thing that like nobody, if you, in New York, like you can go to any neighborhood as long as you kind of mind your own business and like not really.
The difference between the difference between like the West Coast and the East Coast is like, and that's like I can see this now. Like, well, I've seen this for a long time. my uncle went to Howard, and like when I got out of college, they're like, you're going to Howard, and I was like, I'm not going to Howard, and they like made me go visit Howard. I applied to Howard, I got into Howard. I was like, I'm not going to Howard. You know, I'm like staying on the West Coast. And there's so much divide because of what you're saying. There's like political boundaries and this and that. And then like when you come out here, there's like this crazy East Coast black connection. You know what I mean? Like it's like different.
It's different.
It's way different.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, even in LA, there's like the black guy code, you know, like, you know, I've been like, I'll walk around with like a friend who's white or, you know, Latino, and like, I see a black guy who's a stranger and I'm like, what up? Yeah. And the guy's just like,
but it's always kind of like a threat at first, though.
Well, it's just like it's like I see you, and it's just like, what up? And he's like, what up? And they're like, you know him? I'm like, no, it's just a thing we do. And they're like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, it's just code we got, you know. But like here, I don't know. Like when you're in Bed-Stuy, it's just like you're biking by, you see a dude on a stoop, and you're like, how's it going? He's like, all right, you know, like it feels really good. You know?
It's a completely different vibe. My mom was from Detroit, and she always told me that too. She was like, the West Coast is a little bit different. Yeah. Like when you go back to the Midwest and the East Coast, like there's a different vibe out there.
South Central has that though. South Central has that. I mean, personally, I mean like Inglewood, parts of Inglewood have that. Like I don't know about Compton. I never like would go down to Compton. But like South Central definitely has that, especially like on Crenshaw Boulevard where Lamert Park is. That's like our Harlem. Like that's where like people are just like embracing and expressing blackness, which is sick, you know? That's like there over there. It's like real over there. So they have like the Juneteenth parade. They have like a Kwanzaa parade, like all this shit. They have I go home every year for the MLK parade because I grew up doing it. Yeah. We would get taken out of school every single year, and you know.
That's amazing. So you've been here now, what, like it's been like
my
5, 6 years?
My 5th year anniversary was August 3rd. Yeah.
You obviously love it.
I love it. I love New York, dude. I love New York. I won't get it. I don't have a New York State ID.
Oh no,
I don't have any of that. I don't have a New York hat. I'll get like a Dean and DeLuca hat or something like that. Like something like that's like New York, but like I won't get like a Yankees. Nothing New York attire, but I love New York, man. You know, like I'm from California, run the California ID, all this shit like that. You know, like I got all that. You know, but
not thinking back.
New York is my home.
Not thinking about going back to LA anytime soon.
Bro, every time I'm like on the fucking plane and I'm like, we're about to touch down and you see those lights, you're just like, you get so much energy. Every time I fly back and I see like just like New York City lights, I'm just like, I'm home.
Oh, fly back here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I always do this thing where like the weather doesn't matter, the time of the day doesn't matter. I go on a walk to get reacquainted with the city. Like I have to hear like the noise. I don't have headphones or anything. Yeah. I mean, I have headphones personally, but like I'll go on a personal just dolo walk. Yeah. Just like hear honking and shit. And
Take
I'm like,
that time for yourself. Yeah,
exactly. I'm like, I'm home. You know.
Yeah. Who did you skate with in LA? Like who did you grow up skating with, or who did you skate with before you?
To so many people. Fuck. Obviously all the platform crew. So like my buddy David, Anthony Costa, Landon Mitchell. I grew up skating with my homie Pierre and Tom, Heavy, Joseph, a part of the platform crew, Chris Segura. At one point, when I was in high school, I used to skate with this one dude who I don't talk to anymore. But he was friends with like Leo Romero, Matt Allen, Tony Silva, like all those guys. So like I would skate with those guys. Like they would always come around. Fucking so many people.
Did you know this like Nakel or like Sage or any of them?
I met Sage at a young age. Like I met Sage like when he was living in LA, Sean when he was living in LA, Logan when they were living in LA, Aiden, through Jesse Alba. Yeah. Like I met Sage like before that shit, but like yeah, like Jesse, I would take Jesse out to LA. We'd go skate in LA with like Jesse Nolan, Brady Weiland, all these like little kids that all rip, and we would like meet up with like all those guys.
Did you see
Cruz Mendez, Stu, like you know, Mike Lottie? I started skating with him like a little bit like before I moved out here. Yeah. You know, we'd like see each other around and skate.
Damn. Did you see any of like pros around like Andrew Reynolds or Mike Carroll or like Abe or like Dill or?
Dude, I've seen so this dude, so Ryan in 9th grade, like I was skating. Ryan and I were like one of the only like Hesh kids in school, so we became friends. This kid Ryan Reckenfield, he skated for pharmacy.
Okay.
And Beagle used to come to our school to pick him up, and then I would like go skate with him and Beagle, and then Beagle would like bring like baby Herman around, like Knox, and then
Knox Godoy,
and then Herman used to always, and Leo Romero like would always go there, and then Herman used to always come to our, because like the school I went to, there's that famous like 10 rail that like Brian Anderson does like front blunt shove.
Oh yeah.
And there's also that double set that's there that mad people hit.
Yeah.
There's like a 4 flat 3 there. I had to ollie it to see. I had to ollie that double set to get a physical copy of a VHS copy from this ripper, this OG legend who passed away.
Oh,
his name's Alex. He was like our Adrian Lopez. He like looked just like him. Like, and his brother skated Eddie. Eddie still rips. Like Eddie still skates. But yeah, that's like the Claremont Park crew. It's like Daniel Knapp, Chris Soon, Eddie, like just Alex, all like this kid named Steven Stowell, Mikey. We would all go to Chafee, like we all skated Chafee High.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Richard Mulder and all those dudes.
Yeah, so we all
might have been a
skated
generation
Chafee and
before
shit.
you guys,
but like Alex was like this Hesh ass dude, and he had a copy of Jump Off a Building in his backpack, and I was like, dude, what is that video? And he was like, I'll let you borrow it if you owe the double set, and I was like, all right. I'm like, just like.
Did it have to be first try?
No, he was like, you just have to ollie it. It took me a while to do it, but I did it.
It was a 4 flat 4?
It was a 4 flat 3, and it was like.
What?
It was like,
that shit was fucking huge.
It was like, yeah, it's pretty big.
I wouldn't fuck with that shit.
I was like, dude, I want to see this video.
Skater.
Yeah. I was like, I want to see this video, man. Like, but then that's like when Brian Anderson became like my favorite skateboarder.
Yeah, he was amazing.
But I grew up skating with like all those, like dude, that's the tight thing about skateboarding is like, and then all the parks out there. So you just get connected with mad people. So like,
Chino Park is.
So I would go to Chino Park and I became friends with like this kid named Brent, this kid named Austin, David. Brent and Austin ended up skating for Platform. My homie Teebs skated, who makes music, like you know. Yeah, I was literally just like I would pick up these kids in West Covina, like so we'd skate with like this kid T. I put T on, Vince Alvarez, Craig Crane, James, like those dudes. Those dudes always had like an OG girl feel the way they skated, just like Justin Guillen, you know, like they just had that like street.
Did you ever
style.
go into the Diamond store on Fairfax? I used to work there.
I think I went there once to. What did I go in there for? I think I went in there because that's when they had the little the ledges outside.
I don't know.
This is probably after?
Maybe after.
Oh no, that's the DGK store, my bad.
Yeah,
my
DGK.
DGK,
KO store was in that bank.
KO store had the ledges.
Yeah.
No, I never went to the Diamond store on Fairfax.
Okay.
No.
I used to work there for a bit. That's how I met like Knock. Well, I already knew Knock from Kareem, but like Sage and all those dudes.
I met Knock like I met Knock when I started hanging out like at the shop a lot more. He was always there.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I met Knock. Knock is the truth.
Hell yeah.
He's the truth. He's a dope ass. He's a dope ass man, dude. That's a strong ass man. But yeah, I skated with like just so many people. My friend Vinny and his little brothers. This kid Carl. This kid, we call him Sea Fern. But we would just like get together, skate downtown all the time, like just run around downtown all day long and just skate all day long. You know, my buddy Phil, Skyler, like Tom McClellan, like yeah, we all grew up skating together.
That's amazing. And so with everything that you've been doing now, I see you just had like a GQ feature or something like that?
I had a GQ feature.
What's up with that?
Someone that I know, one of the homies, Andrew Whitey, hit me up about it, and he was like, I mean, with this thing, we didn't expect, and nor do we like care for. It's good for the sales, but like, we didn't expect that there was going to be like a GQ feature. So Andrew Whitey hit me up. He was like, yo, like, you know, people at GQ are really interested in what you're doing, and we want to shoot features or shoot photos, and if it gets approved, we'll have like a little write-up on the sale. And I was like, that's cool, man. So then I told, you know, people who were involved, and they were like, all right, yeah, sweet. And so the whole proposal got put together, got approved, and they pulled up to a sale and just took mad photos. And
Nice.
you know, we were hoping they were going to take photos of like people who were like day ones and a part of it.
Yeah.
You know, but that didn't happen. But whatever. Like, I mean, I get it on the GQ sense.
They took photos of more fashionable
people, you know, that I met.
looking,
Yeah, that I met through work. And I get that's how GQ is going to be. Like, that's how it is, you know. But the article was just like, I read it and I was like, ooh.
Really?
I mean, they were like, the next coolest thing since China Chalet. And I'm like, ooh, no, dude.
You're like, that's not the goal here.
The
You're
movement
like,
is not China Chalet. Like, China Chalet is where people black out. And like, there's like sexual allegations there. I'm like, dude, that's got to go. And like,
but how can they even compare the two things? Like, China Chalet is like a...
GQ's gonna have to like make it seem New York street cool, but it's like, I was like, look, dude, this is not a party. People go there and chill and shit, but like, I feel like when people go, they know what's gonna go down. There's cool shit that's there. And
the underlying reason for everybody to be there is...
To donate.
To contribute. Yeah, to contribute.
It's not a party. It's cool, but it's like, you know, it's cool, but it's like we're not trying to make it cool. Like, you know, we're trying to take a break from these like lives that you're labeling. My friend Brianna said it best. She was like, we're taking breaks from these lives that like they're labeling as cool because this is something we actually fucking care about. And that's true. That's everyone that's there. Like, there's so many people that it's like the way that shit has become a thing. It's literally so insane. These are people that wake up early on a Sunday. Brandon, Ian, Paul, like mad people that are just like, all right, we know what time we got to be there, and they're like, want me to go to the store to do this again?
Yeah,
let's do this. You know, Steven and Tyler showing up. Like, these are people that like no one's getting paid here. Like, these are people that care about this. That show up on the regular. No complaints. They're there. You know, all the boys at Ready Set, they help with the tables. They break it down. Like, you know, like. There's people in the neighborhood that are involved, like my friend Leland. She's got those dope solidarity shirts. Like, she's putting her own money into this, and like, it's so crazy how many people I see wearing that shirt. I'm like, well, that's
a good one.
It's a good one.
What other features have you guys been in? Who else is like?
We've had small press, which is cool. I did like I think it's skateboard story interview. That was like the first one. That was a really fun one. Because it was like cool, because it's like, you know, skateboarding is something that like I do, and then talking about everyone involved and stuff like that. That was cool. I've had another interview through this really cool like POC woman's blog. I think it's called like Black Woman's. I forgot what it's called. I feel bad forgetting, but like. That was a cool one.
But they kind of understood more.
Oh yeah, like they were the questions that were asked were, and it's cool. It was interview based, and like it was like emailed. It was like emailed to me to where I answered them, and nothing got jumbled around. We've had ID, which is it's like these are cool, but like these things kind of like they're missing people that are involved. That are important key players here that are like that's like this is all family, like you know, and it's like we're not looking for the media attention at all, because the whole point is like what we're saying, it's like to donate. But
I mean, the media attention's good if it helps the cause. I mean,
and everyone understands that, and everyone is like, look, man, this sucks that this happened, but we did raise $35K the last time, so
that's
like,
amazing.
That's like. They're like, hey, as long as that's what we're continuing to do, like, you know. But we all talk about it collectively. We're all family. We all value each other's opinions here because we're all putting in our own personal time to do this. So it's like now we have a thing where it's like we are supposed to if there's going to be an interview, we have to send it to, you know, like a certain amount of people, like, and if people approve of it, then it's like, all right, cool, like let's run it.
Do they need to approve of this one before we...
No. Well, I mean, Perry and I were talking about it, and other people suggested it, and I was like, you know, I would be more down to work with POC interviewers, black people specifically, who like really see it, and they're like, damn, this really is touching. You know, I mean, because I don't read GQ.
I don't read GQ.
Like, who reads GQ? Are you guys reading GQ? No, I'm just joking. I don't read GQ though. It's like GQ is like GQ. Like, no offense to like. I mean, I'm thankful for the GQ thing.
Yeah.
No offense to people who work for it, write it. But I feel like the guy who's gonna get a GQ mag buys it out of Dwayne Reed and has like a really nasty White Claw flavor. I don't drink White Claw, but he like lives in like Murray Hill and like only wears rocks the original scent Old Spice. That's your GQ reader. You know what I mean? I don't read that shit. I don't read it, you know? Am I
What plans? Where are you guys gonna go from here? Like, are you gonna just keep doing it, keep expanding?
We want to keep doing it. You know, it's hard. It's getting hard because there's so much that we want to contribute to, and we're definitely. My homie Joey Garvey is like, he put me in contacts with someone I got to get back to, who's like looking out for like a winter space if we're thinking about doing it in the winter, because I mean it would be kind of weird to like roll up to McCarran Park in like a Nupsy and you're just like, oh, like, no gloves for sale there, you know what I mean? Like, y'all got t-shirts today? It's cold out. But, you know, we're saying like maybe until the weather, we don't really have like a end date or anything.
I feel like this is gonna open like a lot of cool doors for you though. Like it's a good thing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean,
well, I'm excited, you know.
Yeah.
It's put me in contact with a lot of interesting people.
Exactly.
You know, I've met a lot of really cool people through doing this. And this is like, that's what New York is.
Totally.
It's like, New York is so rad because it is such a community. Yeah. And it's like, I feel like a lot of people, when this shit first started, first started doing it, it felt just like, it was just so cool because you see these people that like you've seen around and you guys are all together and you know that you're like together for something that's good. It's not just like because the bars reopened or something like that. You know, like you're like, oh, hey, like I'm here too, like to like help contribute and this feels good and I haven't seen you in a long time. Like this is great. You know what I mean? Like that's what's cool about New York. Like the only people that like really drove there are people who were bringing tables or something. You know, like people walked there, rode their bikes there. Like there's a park. Like it's I don't know where else that's gonna exist, but a lot of people are hitting me up like. Oski told me he wants to do one where he's at in Malmo. Oh, really? Someone, he hit me up about it. He like asked me for advice. Someone reached out to me in Chicago. Oh, damn. I was talking with my friend Natalia about doing one like in LA. Like, you know, people are like, it's cool to see like that the seed is planted and now people like, I actually saw it going down in McGorrick Park today. And
they were like, hey, it's the same sale.
They're like, we're just doing it it's Uncle Leroy. It's Uncle Leroy. No, I'm just joking. But I saw one going down in McGorrick Park today, and I like was like, I wanted to like look through the stuff and see if they were doing it, whether they're doing it or not, like for a cause, whatever. But I wanted to see if they were doing it for the cause, but I just didn't even bother, you know? Yeah. But I know that like it's happening around and that's it's a beautiful thing to see, you know? Like whether you utilize McGorrick Park or not, like it's whatever. Like if you're raising money and sending it out to contribute to a cause, like that's beautiful.
How did Chloe get involved?
Chloe, she likes to do New York-centric things. You know, before she had a baby, she like would go to Pyramid Club. Well, I would see her at Pyramid Club. She's rad like that. It's like, you know, like she's a celebrity, but like she doesn't like look like, from what you see, she's not like a stray from like the New York, like the New York atmosphere of like what's actually going on. So I don't know I think she reached out to Brianna and Haley Wallens. Okay. And then she was like, I want to donate stuff and like sell stuff. And I was like, that'd be cool. Like that'd be rad.
Hell yeah.
So she like promoted it and I was like, holy shit, this is cool. Like this is gonna go down.
That probably helped a lot.
Yeah, I felt bad with the GQ thing too because like it was like, I felt like this person wanted to come to this thing to just exist as a human and like, obviously she's gonna know that like whatever she promotes, if she's gonna have a sidewalk sale, she's gonna have a big following. The crowd, I think that's manageable for Chloe. It probably sucked because she brought her baby there and like she wanted to be with friends and like her, you know, her baby daddy and you know, like just have a good time. And But I felt like the GQ thing made it such a thing, and I felt really bad about that when I was thinking about that.
So they were there when she was there?
They were there when she was there. It wasn't like a planned thing. It was just like the week that the deadline that GQ was like planning to like push the article out was the week she was going to be there.
Okay.
But I know she still had a good time, you know? Like she was like, she felt like she should have brought more clothes, but I was like, anything you do is a huge help. That's so great.
Her just even posting that shit on Instagram.
It was, dude, it was so cool. Like she literally like, you know, and like people are like, can I take a photo with her? And I was like, look, that's between you and her. But I feel like this person really just wants to like just exist in this moment and like sell things and hang out. You know, like if you like her that much, respect that at least.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So it's like, and it was cool. She was talking to people that were buying things. She was like, oh my God, I used to wear those all the time in the 90s. And people were like, hey, Chloe, like I bought this. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so glad you got that. Like I used to wear that all the time. Like, you know, just like so down to earth about it, you know, like mad cool, you know, like
hell yeah.
It was sick. It was really cool.
I want to ask you something. I want to get your opinion on this. With everything that's going on, there's a idea that white silence is violence. I mean, I struggle with this a little bit because I feel like, yes, it's true, we're dealing with a lot of human rights issues and people should be passionate about it. But then on one side, I'm kind of like, people shouldn't be able to, shouldn't tell other people what they should feel, how they should feel, essentially. Like everybody's right, you know, has the right to feel however they want to feel about issues in the world. So I don't know. I mean, what do you think about it? Like,
I mean, I think the way that I interpret it is like the way that I interpret white silence as violence is like, you gotta just get out of your bubble and realize that like this shit is like real. You know what I mean? Because I think like for white people, it doesn't seem like it exists in their world when it really does. And I think that is a part of like white silence. I feel like it's just like learning how to be an ally to these actual issues is like what is like the important thing. I actually like after our first sidewalk sale, I got into it with a white woman in a deli. I didn't get into it with her, but like I was walking from Tiana's house, Perry's lady's house, so we went to go celebrate. And I'm like walking on Nassau, and I'm passing Nassau's Finest, and this woman's just like, black people, black people, black people. And I'm like, yo. So I'm like, what is the stir about? Okay. I'm interested in seeing what this is about. So I walk in, and she like looked at me, Lee, like a deer in headlights. What? She was like, because I don't think she expected, you know, like. Yeah. And so I walked in with I was smiling. I was like, what's wrong with black people? Yeah. And she's like, oh no. Like I'm just saying, like, with all this looting going on, and you know these protests, you know, I just feel like it should just go down in their neighborhoods. And I was like, their neighborhoods? What do you mean their neighborhoods? She's like, you know, the projects. I'm like, so you think that's only our neighborhoods? But like, I'm like, that's a part of like that's white silence is also ignorance, you know. So it's like, open up your bubble and realize that like there's some real crazy shit going down. You know what I mean? She like thought that like the videos on Instagram weren't real. She thought people weren't getting locked up, and like, you know, I called her ignorant and she freaked out. She's like, this is why I can't talk to you people. And then I was like, wow, okay, so like, why don't you have to say what you have to say? But then there was a white woman also in the deli that was like, she was like, you know, I'm sorry that you have to deal with this like ignorant bitches bullshit. And she walked out. And then she was like, why don't you fucking mind your own business? You know, but that's like someone being an ally to the situation versus like a white person just checking out of the deli and be like, this isn't my place. Do I say something? You know, she was like, you know what, this is fucking bullshit. I'm sorry you're dealing with this shit. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Because at the end of the day, it's like, we're dealing with issues that are happening to black people, but it's really a human rights issue.
100%.
I mean, that's 100%. And if the same thing can be said about any oppressed culture or race or you know, anybody, you know, it's all human rights at the end of the day. So you know, that's the thing that a lot of people don't kind of connect those two dots. It's like,
Yeah, it's scary, man. It's just like, dude, it's crazy. Because I've been a victim of, I've had a DWB. You ever call it you know what a DW is?
No.
Driving while black. It's like a DUI, but a DWB.
Much, so
well, back in, driving to California, I've had a DWB, and it's like when I got pulled over, I'm just like, wait, I was doing what? You're pulling me over for what? You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, I know my white friends have never heard this shit before.
Yeah.
You know, like, I've experienced it with cops, like, firsthand. It's insane, Like, it's crazy.
When do you think, I've been going to a lot of bike protests, and I was asking some friends, I was like, how long are we gonna do this for? And they're like, we're just gonna keep doing it. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah. Not that I was against it or anything, but I was like, because this shit's not gonna change for a long time,
Yeah.
I mean, the systemic racist policies that are in place, they're definitely not changing overnight. So it's like,
they're not.
How long, when do we kind of like...
I mean, a lot of us feel like we got it in some of like those like high press articles. It was like a systemic thing. It was like the way that the whole story got misinterpreted was just like, it's GQ magazine is a reader for a white crowd, So that's why we're like, we kind of just want to fuck with black press because that's what's important. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool, but I'm like, I didn't repost. I didn't even put the story in my personal Instagram until the story. I had them like change it. You know what I mean? Like, we all met together and talked about it, and everyone was saying the same thing. Yeah. They're like, yo, like this is what happens when someone else writes. And I'm like, not anti that, but it's like, damn, that is a result. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's like, and that's just like something promoting what we're doing. So definitely this shit's gonna happen for a long time,
Well, thanks to people like you, the wheels are turning, and
hopefully, man,
change is in motion.
Change is in motion for sure.
For sure. I think this definitely, I think everything that's happening this year is super important, and I mean, maybe it's the beginning of something new.
Something new, I don't know, history repeats itself, right? So it's like, who knows? There might be a new black revolution sparking up.
Yeah, man. My mom was very revolutionary and she put a lot of energy into fighting against the system and all of that. She ran away from Detroit and moved to San Francisco in the 60s and did that whole thing. But one of the things that I always told her was that, sometimes you gotta like take care of yourself. So don't forget to go on that vacation. Yeah,
nah, for sure. I mean, it's crazy. Definitely, like
when it's all said and done, you need to go lay on a beach somewhere.
Yeah, it's been busy.
And turn your phone off.
It's been busy, but it's been exciting, and like, like I educated myself on black activism. Like it's not taught in schools. Like, let's be real here. Like friends of mine that I grew up with, like, would hear me talk about the Black Panther Party. That's something that like really intrigued me. I've seen Angela Davis speak. I remember I saw Angela Davis speak in college, and like they were like, all right, if you're getting a book, in line. And I was like, I don't have money to buy a book, but I got in line anyway. And she was like, where's your book? And I was like, I just need to shake your hand. Like, so it's like the fact, and like I wear like these heroes of mine, and like listen to like speeches and stuff like that, and it's like trying to resemble something that they're doing is just like so crazy. And then there's other people that exist around you that believe in that as well. For sure. So it's like, dude, it's so hard to take a break from that when like that's what's going on. It's like, it's crazy. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for coming through.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yo, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe to us on Instagram and Facebook. YouTube. Facebook. We're keeping this one in. Appreciate you.
Yeah.